now it is recording again. All right, yeah, you are very correct. Number one, let me just look into your example of Judy. All right, they are gambling at sea, but they are gambling just outside the Malaysian water. All right, okay. Now that has happened. There is a case called Osu Sakam. All right, gambling. Osu Sakam. Osu Sakam is minister from Borneo. I'm not sure Sabah or Sarawak, but he gambles on the ship in the high sea. All right, and he loses money, and he promises to pay, but he didn't pay. So when he come back to Malaysia, he was sued. He was charged with unpaid gambling money. All right, but at the end of the day, he has to pay. But the fact that he is a Muslim cannot be charged gambling. All right, and he was not. The charge was not able to stick on him because of the protection. Yeah, sebab you sue dia dekat mana? You sue dia in Malaysia. So if he gambles in the outside of Malaysian water, being a Muslim, he should not be charged in Malaysia. He should be charged outside in other countries, because you gambles in that water that is outside Malaysia, gambles right, because in Malaysia gambling is not all right allowed for any Muslim. To the twisted version, you have to read Osu Sakam, O-S-U, Osu, O-S-U, Osu Sakam. This is one of the unique case in the country. But in other situation, all right, if let's say you are gambling in the high sea, all right, and you didn't pay, and they take matters into a court, all right, okay, you will have to pay for the debts that you created, even in the high sea. High sea is a place that doesn't belong to any country, but because you are gambling on board of a ship that flies the flag, the ship that flies the flag of the states, that ship will be able to take action against you. Or, all right, the country that operates the gambling company, they will take action against you. All right, that just to satisfy the situation. The second one I wanted to say is, somebody asked questions. I happen to hear that the question was this: can this Akta CCA be applicable when you are committing hacking in the plane? All right, as long as you are a Malaysian and they know that you are the Malaysian who committed that act. Everybody else who are involved in the who are involved as in the terms of victims to the crime of hacking that the Malaysian did on board of the flight, all right, that country can take action. Ni bawah apa? Criminal jurisdiction, okay, international criminal law jurisdiction. Boleh. Because you are in the sky, all right, okay, the plane belongs to the country, that country can take action, all right, the victims is somewhere down on the land, that person is a victim, he can take action. But the question that interests me was whether CCA can be applicable to this gentleman who is a Malaysian. Right, the person who is Malaysian, remember the territorial we are talking about just now, section 9 of 10. All right, and that section says it's applied to Malaysians. All right, that's
okay, Prof.
That's the reason.
What if
let me just finish. All right, that is the reason why if you burn Malaysian flag in England, you are going to be charged with the Malaysian section because you are Malaysian. Yes, Ehsan.
What if the person in the plane is a non-Malaysian?
All right. If the person in the then the CCA will not be applicable, except if the plane is Malaysian. You are inside a Malaysian plane, so a CCA will be applicable. All right, okay. Now,
thank you.
Ada satu lagi. Kalau you are not in the Malaysian plane, you are not Malaysian, the victims are also not Malaysian, definitely CCA will not be applicable. Yeah. Okay, now that we have finished the act, obstruction of search, okay, prosecution. All right, a prosecution shall not be instituted except by or with the consent of the, you see, it's public prosecutor. Siapa Who is public prosecutor in Malaysia? AG. They will be the one that decide that. All right. Now that we have completed looking into the act.
Doctor.
Yeah.
Just one question. What if the victim is a Malaysian, but the hackers or the person is not Malaysian and not in the country? It's being hacked from outside of Malaysian, but the company or the victim is a Malaysian in Malaysia. So
Right.
is this act applicable to them for the case?
Yeah, because you are Malaysian. That is the jurisdiction or prescribed jurisdiction in international law. All right, international says crime where it start, where it landed, where it changes, and then where the victim is. All the country will have jurisdiction to trial the matter. All right. Okay, there is a case. Let me just give you a case, but it's not just to show on the jurisdiction aspect. All right. To match your questions, right? The case is called Jones versus PP. The case is like this. Jones wrote a letter to a person in France. Jones is a lady. She opened up a phone book. In the phone booth, there is a phone book. All right. She took out an address from the phone book. She go back to her home. She writes a letter to a person who is in France. All right. Okay. Now, in her letter, she wrote something like this. I know what you did last semester. I know what you did last summer. I'm going to tell your husband, and I have evidence to show to him what you did last summer. Therefore, if you do not want to send, if you do not want your husband to divorce you or to hurt you or to hurt him, you are to pay into my account this amount of money, 135 pound into my account in the island of Wight. Right? Okay, we following the facts so far? Right. So you see, she is in island of Wight in England. The victim is in France. But she doesn't know anybody. She simply just want to make money. One silly lady. All right. So the victim in France took that letter, showed it to the police. The police activate the investigation and found out that the letter comes from her because she put her account number there. So they trace, and here is between the two countries. All right. French government. All right, representing that lady who is a victim, sue her. All right, okay, Jones. So the case went up to in the court of England. All right, for her behavior on extortion. All right, okay. Are you following me? So that
Yes.
is the situation in what we call as, all right, international criminal jurisdiction, where the crime begins, where the crime landed, where the crime changes, where the crime ended, right? All these countries will have right to prosecute the case, right? Either they prosecute, with any crime of extortion, right? Bawah penal code, right? Is there a crime of extortion in England? Mesti ada, semua dunia ada. Sama juga if you are cheating or theft, right? Okay, so you see, that's why those people who are selling drugs, bringing drugs from Congo, coming down and stop in Hong Kong, take more drugs, and then come down to Malaysia and sell it to people in Malaysia. Police Malaysia caught it. So if they can trace, all right, they can trace it back all the way. And that fella, if he is in Malaysia, he will be prosecuted. And if he is not in Malaysia, and we know that he distributed in Malaysia and left, he will also be prosecuted. Okay, that is international crime, international criminal law. Boleh? Okay.
Boleh.
Alhamdulillah. All right. Now let's look into, kita ada sikit lagi. Okay. Now you were given this PowerPoint that covers all that. All right. Okay. What is a crime? Computer crime, that covers the definition. Over there, I take the liberty to show to you some of what does the book says, and at the end, saya combinekan cyber crimes. All right, what's there are very little difference between computer crime and cyber crimes. Only sometimes cyber crimes, it involve vast communication of computer, ya. Alright, tapi kat Malaysia kita ada apa? Computer Crime Act, cyber crime. Sometimes because of the definition, dalam cyber crime, usually you want to go hold on the neck of the hackers. Hackers ni at one time when I grew up first time with computer, hackers is actually, alright, mana saya punya, alright, okay, hackers is actually well respected person. But by the time cyber crime and computer crime were created in 1997, hackers is a criminal. All right, okay. Sometimes somewhere there in the PowerPoint, I have said that the historical development of the title hackers. First, they were well respected as a clever person, all right, in computer, okay, and later on he becomes a criminal. All right, hackers. So, and sometimes hackers, you see it in a movie many times, they are taking these people to work with the police because only a hacker, a programmer will know how the program is being modified or changed. Yeah, all right, okay. Now, I also take the liberty in that section to discuss CCA from each one of the section. Pay attention to the punishment. All right, okay. Why do you want to pay attention to the punishment? Because in Malaysia, the higher the punishment shows to you, that the more grievances the offense is. Yeah. Okay. So right now, at the end of the day, you also want to pay attention to how to gather evidence. So all the section 2 section that we've read just now, the one that I advised you to look into the mode of evidence. So evidence is really important to be gathered in that way or identified according to the Act if you are suing in the Computer Crimes Act. Jadi evidence dia following the situation. In the Penal Code, the evidence is much clearer. All the element is how you are going to establish the evidence. Alright, dekat sini the evidence is stated itself. Right, the most important for you always to know is that who are the unauthorized and compared to authorized person. Right, so but you have to know in your answers, okay, you have to clarify section 2.5, section 2.8. What type of authorization are you, or what type of unauthorization the person you are. All right, okay. Now, terminology, conviction, and then sometimes at the in the middle of that PowerPoint, I have given you some of the discussion that I went for a conference, right? Just to understand hackers. But again, all right, how the hackers program the item or change the item, sometimes how it's not important in evidence, right? But what is important is the way they did it, all right, it caused modification to it impact the original situation of the computer. All right, okay, so the word impact, sometimes is, as an investigator, you need to know how impact is. That's why all those draft that I tunjuk, that I point out, all right, right from section 54, all right, okay, the type, the system, all that, an investigator need to know, all right, but then the investigator need not have to present it to court as evidence, right? Because if you don't know the way these hackers try to maneuver in the modification of alteration or erasing the block, all right, then you will not be able to prove that there is modification, all right. Okay, now having said all that, then into the subsection, into the PowerPoint number 78, you were introduced with cybercrime. All right, cyber crimes, those people are called cyber criminals, but some people call them hero. All right, same situation as hackers, Phyllis, are today. Hackers are all in the negative aspect. Phyllis is the one who is a new name. People who really are a programmer, sometimes we in Malaysia know them as programmer, but in other country they have other titles. All right, okay, right. And with regards to cybercrime, I simply put it there so that if you take this other subject on cyber crimes later, in your subject, a new subject was introduced, you probably have some background what is cyber crimes. All right, okay, cyber crime and computer crime. In exam, there is no such thing as cyber crime to be put as part of your exam questions. This one is only an extraordinary, knowing that the subject called cyber crimes, if I'm not mistaken, have already been introduced in your forensic subject. All right, boleh?